Today is the 1st of November 2011, and I thought I'd take a look at the transit of Mars into the sign of Leo. This is a very significant transit for Mars because normally Mars transits the sign for 6 weeks or so, and its transit into Leo will last for 7.5 months until June of next year. So it'd be worth noting this transit and working with it as you will be over the coming months. Finding a positive and healthy expression for Mars will be easier now because Mars is moving from a place of weakness, from the sign of Cancer where it was placed from the beginning of September, into a sign of strength, into the sign Leo. So when Mars is weak, we feel frustrated with a lack of drive and ambition, a lack of get up and go, and emotionally we feel this frustration. When Mars is strong, we have this sense of purpose and we can externalize our wishes and make something happen. And make something happen in relation to the sign of Leo predominantly, as Mars transits the sign. So whatever area of your life Leo represents will receive a lot of energy over the next 7.5 months and focus and discipline in order to externalize that. And the sign of Leo is the sign of the king, the sun. And the reason Mars does so well here is, one, it's a fire sign, which is the nature of Mars, but also Mars is the army and it takes orders from the rulers, and Mars is the ruler. Now, how this plays out in your own life personally is that the sun is representative of your higher self, your own ruler, your own authority, your own sense of confidence and self-esteem. And that gives the orders to Mars to externalize and make something happen for yourself in this life. And without a strong Mars, you may have all of the confidence in the world, you may have all of that sense of self, but without Mars you won't have the get up and go to actually do something. So Mars in Leo allows you to do something. So this is a very positive transit. Initially Mars will be weak, as it still is, because Mars is still at 0 degrees of Leo, so it's at what is seen as a very sensitive point in the zodiac. But as it moves in and settles itself into the sign of Leo, it gains in strength. Also added to that, the sun, which is the ruler of Leo, is placed in its weakest position in the sign of Libra at the moment, so it's taking some strength from Mars. But also you could look at it as Mars is giving the sun some strength. Either way, there's some strength being lost here until the 16th of November, and then on the 16th the sun will move into Mars's sign Scorpio. And Mars, while it's in Leo, is also looking at the sign of Scorpio and influencing that sign, its own sign. And again, this is a very good aspect because Mars will look after its own sign and it's strong to do so. So after the 16th, Mars gains in more strength as the sun does so also. Added to this, Jupiter is in Mars's other sign, Aries. And so it's not only by being in the sign of Aries, being influenced by Mars, but Jupiter is influencing Mars by looking at the sign of Leo. So Jupiter looks at the sign 5 signs ahead of itself in the same element. So Aries is a fire sign and Leo is a fire sign. So Jupiter's aspect and influence on Mars over the coming months will be a beneficial aspect also. So this adds expansion to whatever is being made happen here in the sign of Leo. It adds wisdom also and optimism. So this is a key transit also. Now, one thing to note is that Jupiter is still retrograde until the 25th of December. So we have to look at that as maybe there will be some delays from Jupiter, and we could look at it also as a more reflective tone from Jupiter, so looking at our past for wisdom. But still it's a positive transit, and after December, when it moves forward again, it will be able to bring more of that expansion also with it until next May. So whatever area of your life Leo represents will not only receive the energy of Mars, the will of Mars, the light of the sun, which is your ability to shine on whoever, no matter what. That ability to give generously is the sign of Leo, and where you want to shine and be adored for is the sign of Leo. And this is being given a lot of energy over the coming months, not only from Mars's transit, but also from Jupiter's aspect. And Mars, while it's here, will have an influence on Leo and on its own sign Scorpio. It will also have an influence on the sign opposite Aquarius and the sign Pisces. So these are all signs and areas of your life to be watchful for this Mars energy, which again will be strong. So when Mars is strong, its positive attributes would be a will, a drive, ambition to forge ahead, as opposed to Mars when it's weak, when it's a sense of frustration and lack of will and drive. Added to this, Mars' influence on these planets here in Scorpio is one to watch for also, because Venus and Mercury are here, as well as the north node of the moon, Rahu. Now in Scorpio, Mars' water sign, it's a more hidden place. And so where Mars in Aries might be more dynamic and out there and making things happen, in Scorpio it's looking more internally and looking to the depths. So Scorpio represents more of the dark recesses of the psyche. And Venus doesn't do so well here because of the darkness. And its aspect from Mars during this month, as Venus transits Scorpio for the month of November, means that we have to look at this sense of selfishness as opposed to our ability to come to an agreement with another. And obviously in this scenario, Mars gains the upper hand because it's stronger and it's looking after its own space. So Venus finds the area of Scorpio quite a murky place to deal with, and we may have to look at that in our not only relationships but our agreements with one another, our ability to compromise. Mercury also is here, and it's in a planetary war with Venus, so neither of those planets are at an advantage no matter who wins the war, because they are in a war, and they're in a war in a very murky place, aspected by Mars. So not only are our agreements something that might be challenging this month, but our ability to communicate as well, because Mercury, not only being in Scorpio but being aspected by Mars, is bringing more heat into our interactions with one another. Added to this, Rahu, the north node of the moon, is placed in Scorpio and has been for several months now, and bringing up a lot of intrigue, and a lot of secrets have been exposed. And added to all of this, over the coming months, Mars will expose even more secrets, because Mars, again, remember, externalizes what it influences, and Mars' influence on Scorpio and Rahu will externalize even more of these hidden aspects of life. I hope this helps. Namaste.